Alright, so I'm going to make this video. I'm going to kind of speed along as fast as I can here. Um, this is about cutting and my saw and about the polisher. So Nick and his father own a company called Cutting Edge Solutions or something like that. I'll be honest with you, I only bought from him twice. I talked to Nick a few times. He helped me out with saw blades and some questions I had. So Nick, I want to do this video so you can see a lot of this stuff and maybe give me some advice. And if you see anything you like, maybe we can work something out with each other. And about the polisher. So I want to go over that. But anybody else watching this, the same thing. Any advice you can lend me, any kind of trade you want to do, or if you can identify some of the material, that would be awesome. So before I show you the material, let me show you my saw. Basically, I'm having a hard time cutting things, especially when it's above calcite and serpentine and it gets into that 6 range and up. I'm having a hard time cutting it. I know I'm new at this, but I've used power tools and saws my whole life and everything. Not my whole life, but a lot of times. And I'm just having a really difficult time cutting it, no matter how patient I am, no matter how much water I put in. And I'll show you the saw when I start talking about the cuts, and then I'll bring back in here and I'll show you what it looks like after I've cut some things. Some things aren't so bad. Some things are like you think I like hacked it with like a chisel or something. It's just really bad. I don't know if it's my saw or the blade, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give you an idea. That way maybe you guys have some advice. Alright, so I live in a 2-bedroom apartment upstairs, so my saw is in my spare room right now. I bring it into the bathroom where it has a 20 amp outlet, and I put all the stuff in there. I aim it towards the tub. That way it's not much to clean up at all. So let me start with the saw real quickly. It's a Diamondback 10-inch. I guess they call this a bridge saw, and it's a wet tile saw, and it's got the tray that moves. I got it locked right now, but it moves back and forth like this. You can raise it up like this, which I did one time for a big huge rock that I had. It can cut at a 3-inch depth, or height, I guess you call it, and it's 4,000 RPMs, and I believe it's 2.4 or 2.5 horsepower. So it sounded good. It sounded powerful. I bought this at Harbor Freight for around $425, 2-year warranty, and the tax and everything came out to like, I want to say somewhere around $575, $560, something like that, with the tax, the 2-year warranty added to it and all that. It seems to be a real good saw, but whether it's designed for what I need to do, I don't know. I did a lot of research. I wasn't able to put out $700, $800, $1,200 for one of those high-tech, tiny little plastic box-looking things with the saw coming out. I'm not making fun of that. It just seems like kind of cheap, made cheap as far as, this is all metal and everything like that, and this is made for obviously tile and ripping through things, and it's going to last. But that thing was like a plastic base with this really thin blade and everything. I thought, you know what, for that price, I better do something like this. The other thing is that, and then that may be an awesome saw to use, I don't know. The other thing is I watched people using this and seemingly cutting with no problem. But polishing is another thing, I don't know. What else did I want to say about this? It came with this blade here, which shows that it cuts ceramic, stone, marble, and porcelain. And I don't know what the thickness is here, maybe 0.5, 0.6, I don't know. Then I went and bought this because I did some research, and I watched a video, and I talked to Nick, and some other people online said that this was a good blade. And this is called an Agate Cutter by BD/MK Diamond. I think it's the same company. And it has these tiny, tiny little spaces in between here, open spaces, barely at all. A few of them actually don't even look like they're opened at all. And, it might be a sliver thinner than this blade here. Well, lo and behold, cutting all the material, that thing cuts better than that. That's $40 replacement. That's $140 for that thing. And every time I switch to it to use it, I get so frustrated that I say, forget this, and I take it off, and I put that back on, and I wind up trying to work through it with that. This came as I think the date on this was 2018. I don't know if that means it's not as good as the newer ones, or it was just sitting around. It wasn't used, I know that. I don't know if that has an effect on it or not, but man, that thing, and no offense to Nick for suggesting, because lots of people suggest it. I think it's a combination of this, me, and the saw maybe, I don't know. Another thing I like to say is that they showed like a 4-minute video of this blade cutting a rock that's identical almost to what I have, same material and everything, and they show it at full speed, you know, running it without like any editing, going through it like so nice and not fast, but like, and doing such a great job. No, not even close to that. At least not on my end. This thing does that pretty decent, but that doesn't. And a lot of people in the tile business say this is decent, but it's not that great of a blade to go get something better. Well, you know, I guess it depends on who and what you're dealing with. So, any advice on that, let me know. Now, let's get to this saw on the table. I haven't used a lot of this stuff here. So the table slides in and out. Now, if you notice this table, it has the grooves in it, so the saw blade can come down through and pass through. What I noticed is, not so much on the bigger, heavier rocks that go wide out this way, but on the smaller ones, I might cut them straight, and then at the end, no matter how hard I'm holding on to it, you know, the pressure of the saw, because it's going downwards, will tilt the rock a little bit, even if you don't feel it. And then you'll get a tiny wave or slant at the edge of the rock, and it's like, oh, because it won't polish. You can't polish it. Now, if I have a flat polisher, which I'm going to show you, because Nick asked me how I like it. Overall, I like it. But when you're polishing something down like this, and it, you know, that's you can't really work anything off of it that is, I don't know, wavy or slanted. Now, if you were on a polishing wheel like that was spinning this way, then you could do it. That you could, you know, work it out a little bit. So that's one issue I have on the small rocks. And then what I'm having overall, and you're going to see this, is the saw it vibrates, but not a lot. I try to watch the saw. Then when I shut it off and I kind of like feel it, I think what's happening is, no matter how tight I have the nut right there and everything on there, I think that there's a little wobble in this saw, like a little wobble this way. Now, I watched those high-tech saws online and everything, and they have really thin blades. Matter of fact, those blades look so thin, it looks like you can bend them like a piece of tin. And I think to myself, well, this blade doesn't feel like you can bend it at all. So inside it must wobble a little bit. And those high-tech blades, they obviously seem like they would have a wobble because they're so thin. And they only go at, like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at 1,700 RPM. So I don't know if it's good to have less RPMs or higher RPMs. But like I said, online, there's many people who use these kind of saws that have apparently great effects with it. But then again, I don't know, you know, polishing. I don't know if they're polishing issues or not, if they have any waves to it. So I put it up against this wall here. Obviously, all rocks aren't flat and perfectly square, as you know. But I hold it as best I can against here and downwards so it doesn't wobble when I put it through. I rarely have that issue, so it's not like me wobbling the rock. I put it in a place where I know I can hold it and pass it through. And then I just push the table. I hold the rock and I push the table. I've even tried pushing it with my hands running it through, but that didn't work as good, so I used the table that slides through. So that being said, you know the power, you know the RPMs, you see the style of the saw. What I've been telling you about, there might be a wobble in the blade. A guy online today talked to me about it. He said that it might have a slight wobble, or you may be cutting too fast, or this or that. I've tried everything. I tried to work with the saw and let the saw move it through. Sometimes it doesn't look like the saw can even move at all with either of the blades. It's like almost like, what the heck's going on? What else can I say? I pull it out a little bit. You know, I slide the table back a little bit. This has a nice guide on it too, which I like, and it has a light. And I let water pass through it more and more, and then I go. And sometimes it's just really, really difficult. So the other thing I could tell you is that the one pump, I went to a 2-pump system where I put the big pump that it came with in a 5-gallon bucket, so it's always putting fresh water through the saw and not regurgitating any dirty water or anything through it that might get onto the blade or clog things up. And then I bought a little fountain pump for like $12, and I put that in here, and I put the tube into my tub and pumped the dirty water into the tub right down the drain. So let me show you something else I did. One time I took this, and I don't know what this is. So if you guys know what this is, I played around with it. I have no idea. The book really doesn't describe it at all. This here you can pop out, and you can adjust the height of this. So basically what I tried on one rock, because I knew it was too big and it was hard to cut, I lifted it up and I tried to pass through it for like 20 minutes. And then I lowered it back down a little bit, and I did the same. Then I lowered it, then I lowered it, then I lowered it, and I lowered it, and I lowered it, and I lowered it until I finally cut through it. I'll show you the results of that. Still not good. So that's my issues with cutting. Now I'll show you the polisher. All right, so I'm going to link Nick's website up here. Him and his father are out of Phoenix, maybe, Arizona. I'm in California. He had a good deal on this compared to everybody else on the web. He had it on sale for like $500 maybe, five something. Back in December of 2021. It's May 30th right now. And if you sign up for an email newsletter, which is really cool, they don't bombard you like every day like some of these sites. Like maybe once a month they send something out. You get like 5 or 10% off. So it was on sale, and then 5 to 10% off. It was a great deal. I must have saved at least $75 compared to any other site that you can do it with. If you're not familiar with it, it comes with 1, 2, 3, and this guy the 184, and this guy 5. You see this one? I don't know what happened, but this one took a beating. This one's still really good, and all the rest are still really good. The red is wearing down a little bit more too, but I went heavy on them. I used a lot of it. Overall, I like the machine. I like the pads and the acrylic and everything like that. This thing was more expensive. This thing was like, it was more than my saw actually. Overall, I had to buy it. It was between this and a Meritool, and I picked this one instead. You know, it's plastic and everything like that. It seems to be pretty decent. Cleaning this inside part's a pain in the neck. The plastic Chinese container is a little, tacky. These stickers keep falling off, and, plastic with metal screws. You know how that goes. Overall, the machine works pretty well. I would have suggested that piece right there, that metal piece, to be wider, since the discs are wider. Maybe double the size. So when you're pressing down a little bit, or a heavier rock, or working the outside of the disc, it won't vibrate as much. That would have been a better design, I feel. And then, the rest of it's okay. Overall, it polishes well. I like these discs right here, and I like this. I had seen online before I bought this that many people were saying that this 180 disc does virtually nothing to get saw marks out, that you have to buy the 80. I couldn't find the 80 in a couple places. They were all sold out everywhere. So I bought the 100. Well, as I have the one deal with the saw effect and I'm having trouble cutting, I'm also having trouble getting saw marks out. So the 100 isn't getting the saw marks out either. The 180 isn't getting the saw marks out on most of the pieces. Almost 9 out of 10 of or 8 out of 10 of the different material. And on the softer material like the serpentine or the serpentine gem stuff or calcite, these two will rip it up to shreds and you don't even really need it. When you have a softer piece, I start with either that brown one, or sometimes I just start with this and work my way up on the serpentine gemmy. I call it serpentine because I know it's a class of serpentine gem. Some people call it false jade or whatever. And you can work with that stuff and it comes out. You don't need that. But on the crystal stuff, the jasper stuff, none of these are getting the saw marks out. None whatsoever. So that's kind of annoying, man. So I might have to go to the 80 like they're saying. And it's kind of bizarre because this stuff does seem to take a lot of stuff off. For instance, if I have a nub on a piece of crystal and I angle it, it takes it off so easily and flattens it right down. So I don't know what the issue is with taking the saw marks out. If you feel the saw marks, you can barely even notice they're there, but you can see them with your eyes. So maybe, again, that's something that you guys can familiarize me with. Is it me? Because other people did say that they're not able to get it out too, and these guys have been doing it for a while, and they recommended the 80. Even a few girls were like, yeah, you need the 80, I'm not going to get it out. So you guys let me know about that. Otherwise, I like this machine and everything. I wanted to go maybe Covington or one of those more commercial grade brands, but then you're jacking up the price $200-300 more, and I'm new at this, and I'd probably be even more upset knowing that I'm not good at it right now, spending that kind of money on those machines. The same thing with the saw. You're looking at $1,000, $1,500 for one of those saws that you can use at home. That's like commercial grade. It's all made out of steel, and the polishers are made out of steel, and they have different reservoirs and belts and stuff like that. But if you're like me and $500, $600 is a lot of money to you, then you're going to have to go with something like this. But overall, I like this. I like this a lot. Little bit expensive to replace everything. They say you can get these pads off with like a hair dryer or something like that if you need to replace the pads and then put new ones on instead of buying the whole acrylic piece. The other machines, I think, have some kind of steel type base and not acrylic. Obviously, if you drop the acrylic or something, it could crack. So who knows? Now, another thing, I haven't bought it yet. I think it was out of stock on Nick's place, but people told me I can use a regular brick. For now, what I use is this rough nylon brush. When I'm done with my saw, obviously after 2, 3, 4 rocks, it starts not cutting at all. So I usually have to take them off. I run them under some hot water, and I scrub like back and forth like this. Then I put them back in, and then they seem to work better for another 2 to 3 rocks until they start going crappy again. I don't know. I'm surprised they can't make a saw that has like a really good diamond plate that can fit, universal or something that could fit and just run through rock like it's nothing. Like, those guys out in the street with those big circular saws that are cutting giant cement when they're doing construction and stuff. Something like that can just blast through it easily. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe if they have a big, huge commercial machine, but who knows. All right, so I'll start from this way over. See what happens. I'm going to attempt to cut this stuff. You might say, what the heck are you going to cut that stuff for? Well, practice, and also some of this stuff comes out cool. So you see that stuff right here? You think this is pretty cool? I do. And again, my phone never really is picking up color, but there's like blues and grays and whites and different colored greens running through here. And this is what I call the serpentine gem. This was one part of the rock. And again, like, my camera doesn't really pick up well. If I sat this down somewhere and took a picture, it would be a lot better. I'm looking at it on camera, and then I'm looking on the side of the camera. I'm like, no way. I see just like a brightness, where on the gem thing here, I see really beautiful colors. Anyway, I tried making this. See how awesome I am at cutting? I even knew how to cut that on a slant. See that? Cut it on a slant. Not on purpose, but hey, it came out nice and it polished. So this material here is what I call that gemmy stuff. That it was a big, huge rock the size of a football, and since I have a bigger saw, I'm able to cut some edges off and then be able to work with it. I think this stuff is beautiful, and it'll probably look good in jewelry or something, even if it's a softer material. And that's what the outside of the rock looked like. So this stuff here is very similar. It's got a nice green glow under the water. Same thing with this. This has some kind of like, I don't know, brownish root beer in it. So I'll practice with these guys to see if I can make something, slabs and everything, and get better at this. I find this here in Shasta. You guys let me know if you like this material, whether you want to do a trade or something. Again, this, as you can see, it doesn't polish even that great on this one, because even though this was softer, for whatever reason, it still made maybe a slight off center where I couldn't keep it flat, even though it looks completely flat. But overall, maybe you can see it on this one. See the top edge right here and the bottom edge by my thumb, but now in the middle there's not really a shine. It missed that area. I don't know if it's the rock itself that didn't pick up the shine or it wasn't straight, but and obviously it's a slant, but when I put it down on the counter and everything, it looks straight. But then again, who knows. Beautiful though, isn't it? So let me know if you guys like that stuff, and of course any advice that you can give me. There's a better look at it. It's beautiful. Here, same rock, just a little bit different colors and shades running through it. All right, now, so I'm going to practice on this. This should look awesome because it glows really green and everything. If you guys know like the geological terms for this type of what I call serpentine class gem, let me know. All right, I don't know what these are. I call them agate jaspers. Here's a perfect example of trying to cut it and then polish it. As you can see, where it did polish, it looks nice. All along the edge, it doesn't. and you can see some saw marks. Here's, for whatever reason, on the back side, I just couldn't do it. I wind up starting to do this, like rocking the rock, moving it back, coming like that, and trying to keep it straight, because it just won't go through, no matter how slow, nothing. It's almost like, it's ridiculously annoying. And here's a better example. If you can see, polished the very edge, didn't polish in there, and then polished the rest of it. This again, I don't know what this material is. I wasn't sure what would be inside. Of course, it was awesome, and I couldn't cut it right. So it's like a nebula dust in there, and it's just absolutely beautiful, even if I can't get a good shot with my camera. And I'm trying to show you the polish looks nice, but up top you can see, there we go, where my finger is, all across the top is saw marks. And yet that thing is so awesome inside. Ugh, gets me aggravated. If anybody knows how to fix it or would like to try it and maybe we can exchange something, let me know. Here was another one. Wasn't sure what would be in it. This one was really difficult to cut. I'll show you some of these underwater so you understand why. But this one is just flat down coming at me, then flat down the opposite way with a ridge in the middle. The other piece over here, and I'm going to try to recut these again on my own unless you guys say, no, we'll recut it for you. You know, just totally messed that one up. Horrible. I don't know if this is tiger's eye or some kind of petrified jasper wood, but I'll show you underwater why this is so awesome. When I cut it, it took it forever to cut. This one was really, really hard to cut. It almost felt like trying to cut through the most hardest piece of metal. And if you can see, it slants to one side, then in the middle it's kind of even, then it slants to the opposite side going that way. That's why I think there's some sort of curve to my blade. Here's something I'm really interested to show you guys. I don't know what this material is. It's mostly quartz. Another one, or what I call silica or whatever, it's really, really difficult to cut. This was a piece that I somewhat got away with. You can see the shine on it and how beautiful. I feel it looks like moonstone. I don't know what it is though. But look, I missed the edge there. Remember I told you when you get a small piece, it will slant the edge. But look at the violet and the beautiful colors in there. And this does no justice, but underwater I'll show you. So I got a whole bunch of chunk, and I really wrecked the crap out of this side, as you can see. I think it would make a great pendant or ring or something like a moonstone. Again, if you know what it is, let me know. And I have a ton of it, so if anybody knows how to make jewelry and you say, hey, I say make me a couple pieces of jewelry or whatever and keep the rest for yourself, we could work something out like that. Calcite material, very simple to cut. Very easy to polish. I have no real issues with that. This was a harder type calcite, and it came out well, so you can see the polish on that reflecting the light above me. That was easy. And here are some really cool orange ones that cut easy as well, and the rock itself polished up nice as well. You can see how easy it is. So I'm like, yeah, look how awesome this is. Now I have to find calcite for the rest of my life unless I know how to cut, right? That's what the stone looked like on the outside. All right, so this was something cool. I don't know what you guys call it, banded calcite. Is that what it is? Found it in a drainage ditch. I have like 12 pieces. It's awesome. And I decided to cut some. Those are natural fractures in it. I didn't do that, those lines. But again, it held a great polish, and it looks so cool inside. So I have no issues with that. This guy, we'll jump to this guy right here. What is it? Do you have any idea? I don't. I found most of this all stuff in Medford, Oregon, where it's familiar with like agates and jaspers and wood. So it's green, it's got some violet in it, and it's beautiful. And I did a decent job on this one, but as you see my thumb right here, like what happened? How did the saw do that when the blade goes around the outside? How did it make, see that little tiny one right there? But then that big chunk. I don't understand how that's working. So again, any advice, let me know. Here's another piece. If you like it and you identify with it and you think it's good for jewelry or whatever for yourselves or for your business, let me know, because I have tons. Remember, I have the other halves of everything. Here's what I call another type of serpentine. I call this like this one's in between a metallic-y, reflective, and gem-like. It's really easy to cut and polish even if it's fractured. And it looks beautiful. It's like emerald, there we go, emerald green and black. I love it. I personally love it. I get tons of this out in where I live in Shasta. It's just really, really beautiful. Here's another version of it. This is a bigger piece. That's what it looks like inside, just some crut looking stuff. And then boom. Again, it's beautiful. And again, it's hard. I'm going through this fast, but just to give you an idea, because the video is long as it is. Again, I think it's some kind of serpentine-like stuff. It's beautiful, the black and the greens. I personally don't care if it has those lines, like, I don't know if they're considered fracture lines or whatever, but they're still just a beautiful looking rock to work with. Here's one of my favorites. Came out probably one of the best that I've made. Again, I call it serpentine. I find it in the same area. It came out awesome. And the camera's not picking up that teal, but it's like this teal color. And it's just so beautiful. And again, another type of serpentine that cuts pretty easy. And this is strange because this part in here, I don't know what it is. Like the marbling. And then there's like this gummy, like wannabe reflective type stuff. But as you can see inside, it came out really nice. I like the look of it. You never know what was going to be inside, but that looks awesome. And it has a slight little glowing green. Now, let's get to this real quick here. The BD Diamond, had a rock like this, almost the same size, even a little bigger. Pushed it through, so, oh yeah, I'm getting that blade. This is going to be awesome. Yeah, this is what it was, some kind of purpley blue druzy on the outside, and then bam, on the inside. It was awesome. And what you probably can't see is that this druzy in there, and then that thick white, there's a lot of bands there. It's just my camera doesn't know how to pick things up. And I'll show you, because I have the other halves that I messed up are in the water, because under the water they still look great. But this one I tried to put a shine on, and you could see that it came out pretty decent, but over here it's all messed up with saw marks. Again, it just was really difficult to cut. Nothing like their video showed. Now, here's the same kind of rock, right? I assume it's pretty much the same. I'm guessing it's 6 or 7 on the Mohs scale. Boom. Look how awesome that is inside. I was super excited. You know why? It actually cut straight. And it polished perfect. You can't see it on the video, but there's a tiny, tiny little, like, scratchy here. But the rest of it is awesome. It's hard to get. In pictures I can get it. So yeah. So for whatever reason, not much big, not much smaller than that. Perfect. Easy, pretty fast, clean, and I polished it. So why? Why am I having trouble with this? All right, let's move over to this thing here. I don't know what it is. That quartzy druzy with some stone, and that didn't cut real nice either. That waved and kind of had annoyances. And I've tried both blades on different rocks, but the same material, and not really having that great. I actually like the blade that came with the saw. So I'm going to show you this in case you like it and you want some of it. This is that gem-like serpentine grade stuff. Cruddy on the outside. I cut in it. Looks really nice. Now the thing with these here is I'll show you a better piece. Let's see. See that? Right in here. Saw marks. It's beautiful too. The thing with this is that if I use the 180, it doesn't get the saw mark out, and it could damage it. If I use the 100, it starts to damage. I got a crappy piece that I cut off ahead of time that I didn't care about, and it damaged it. It made like tons of looking like saw marks in it instead. And I thought, oh no. So I could only polish it to the best of my ability. So any advice on what to do with this, let me know. I don't want my video to run out because I really want to show you guys something. God forbid I have to make a part 2. And here's something else. That's the same rock. I have more pieces. This was similar but different. It has peach and orange in it. And I sometimes find them. Basically, it's this giant guy right here. I can't cut it because my saw can't fit into it. But this is this rock, kind of rock here. It's got some more minty greens over here. And I call it serpentine because it has that serpentine bottom shell to it. So therefore, it must be a mineral classification of one of the serpentine gem stuffs. All right, remember I told you I had to bring the saw up and then down and then down and then down and down? Well, the other part is bigger than this. This is what I cut. May not look cool because of the fracture marks, but underwater it's awesome. I would love to have jewelry or something made out of it. I tried to polish it. It does fit on the polisher, so that's cool. It could fit about 3.5 inches by 7 inches on a polisher, but you can see the saw marks and everything, even though I tried it a different way. This bad boy right here is awesome. It's like a multicolored, I guess, jaspery, quartzy stuff. And one half cut pretty nice. It took my sweet time of about a half an hour or so with it, and I still couldn't cut it. It looks straight. When I eye it up, it looks totally straight, maybe a slight wobble. But again, difficult. If you like it and you know what it is, let me know. This guy right here is a big rock. I decided to chip a piece off with everything. It's all that gem-like stuff in here. It looks amazing underwater, the whole thing. And again, it has that shell of that serpentine. Here is the outside, and here is the beautiful inside. It polished and cut beautiful, or to me beautiful. You guys might pick out a few things that don't look beautiful, but again, the green is absolutely awesome. All right, moving along as fast as I can here. And if I do have to make a part 2, I will, because I really, really need help with this. And what do you think this is? Do you have any idea what this root beer color stuff is? I tried to make it a cube, as you can see, where those dull parts are. I put oil in it, coconut oil, to make it look better. It did polish nice. It was very difficult to cut. Whatever it is, it was very difficult. I love it. It looks cool. Here's another version of it. It looks stacked and layered like feldspar or one of those kind of minerals, but it's a strange color. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like a root beer, basically. It looks like a root beer. And I love it. It's been in acid, so I know it's not any kind of calcite. And here's a smaller chunk. These were found in a drainage ditch in Shasta, where I live. And this was in the desert of Red Rocks of Nevada. Same exact rock, but to get a better idea of the root beer and what it is. So any idea what it is? Is it worth anything? Do you like it? I don't know. Okay, so this guy here, not sure what this is. Hard, incredibly hard to cut, jaspery quartz. This is why I wanted to cut it, because I figured maybe something cool inside. And if you can see, if I can get out of the way, see that? It's got all these cool whites and blacks and swirls in it. I think it's awesome, but I can't do anything with it, because A, I can't cut it good enough to slab it, and I know nothing about jewelry, and you can see I have a ton of this material. This is very similar to it, just different colors. And again, it's just awesome looking inside. And I can't cut, so I can't do anything with it for now. So let me know if you like that. Let me know if you know what this is. Sort of like swirls of different minerals. It's got green somewhere inside where it broke open. It has this wonderful green gem-like stuff. I don't know where it is now. Maybe it was on one of the other pieces. But anyway, it looks really beautiful underwater. Sorry, I'm flicking the camera around. I can't tell if it could take a good polish, because it cut like butter in the first place. It cut so fast that I slowed down the next pieces because it was cutting too fast. Like the saw was moving so fast through it. And guess what? It did that thing. Can you see it? You see the angle of that? How it angles? Man, it's bizarre. It didn't wobble. It was a heavy rock. It was easy to hold. It was almost flat, and I still couldn't do it. It's a really, really nice looking rock though here, and whatever it is. So if anybody has advice to offer me for that, let me know. Oh, I got to show you this. I heard a guy called grape jelly seam agate. It's beautiful. It's like this marbly stuff. And again, I barely can cut it that good, but a little bit better.